There are countless ingredients that make the human body and mind, like all the components that make me as an individual with my own personality. Sure, I have a face and voice to distinguish myself from others, but my thoughts and memories are unique only to me, and I carry a sense of my own destiny. Each of those things are just a small part of it. I collect information to use in my own way. All of that blends to create a mixture that forms me and gives rise to my conscience. I feel confined, only free to expand myself within boundaries. The Ghost in the Shell is perhaps one of my favorite science fiction films ever made. Scratch that. I would say that The Ghost in the Shell is one of my favorite films ever. Why is that? Simply put, it's not a film that appeals to me on a logical level. It's traditionally not what you'd call a great film in terms of story writing and script work and all that. But what makes it so influential and so different is that it affects you, or at least me, on an emotional level. The reason why I say that is the ideas in this film are what truly connects to me and to the audience in general. The story itself is rather secondary, but the ideas and the wisdom in this film are what truly stands out. For example, a huge theme in Ghost in the Shell is essentially what is it to be a human? What makes us human beings? The human being is a complex entity. We all know that. We're constantly asking what defines you as a human being. It can't just be physical. If that were the case, the idea of humanity would be very, very narrow. But humans are, as I said, are complex creatures. We have our own personalities, our own likes, our own fears, loves, whatever. It's in that quote by Motoko Kusanagi, she says that humans are made up of all sorts of different things. Humanity is like a cake. You got to have your strong foundations, by technicality, and all the other stuff is added in just to give you extra flavor, to make you memorable, to help make you feel that you are a part of this world as your own self. It's a very, very in-depth movie, and here's the thing, ordinarily I would think this kind of film to be pretentious because, again, it's a very emotionally based piece. It doesn't try to, break any boundaries when it comes to storytelling. And with all the sort of really heavy symbology, that sort of stuff usually does, annoy the shit out of me. But in this film, not so much. And that's because it takes a very sort of... I would say it's very, very vague in terms of how it's telling its story. It's not giving any sort of true definition as to what the human being is. It's just putting forth some ideas. And that's what we like to have. We like to have the option of believing what we want. If we are confined in a huge glass cage, we are not going to flourish. We are not going to enjoy our time living in this world. We are not going to value who and what we are. So with Ghost in the Shell, it provides a very, nebulous take on what it is to be human in terms of the question. And that in itself is an incredibly vague statement of me to say, but look, this is what I'm trying to get at here. The Ghost in the Shell explores all these possibilities, but never offers you a genuine, concrete conclusion. It leaves it up to you to decide. And that's what makes it such a good movie. It doesn't impose itself on you. It asks you to think. It makes you come up to your own conclusions, and it doesn't attempt to shoehorn your ideas into your brain. It arouses some questions, it arouses your suspicions, but it never says, this is how it is, this is what you must do, this is what you are. I like that. Secondly, Now, this is probably going to make half of you sort of like dive out a window because you don't listen to me say this, but Ghost in the Shell also offers a very distinct critique on feminism. What makes me say that? Well, for one thing, the character of Motoko Kusanagi. She is a cyborg. And what makes her so different at the beginning of the film is that you see her being made. You see her robotic skeleton, and you see her biosynthetic skin being plastered all over to her body and giving her eyes and her hair and everything. And she's completely in the nude. But not once do you truly see her as an erotic figure. Why is that? Whenever we think of a naked woman, we tend to sexually objectify her. We tend to think of her more as a sexual ornament rather than, a product of biology. Now, the truth of the fact of the matter is that not many anime truly sort of, explore the notion of woman. As you may be aware, like, anime isn't exactly the most progressive in some cases, like the way they treat their female characters and how they regale their roles. But in Ghost in the Shell, you don't necessarily see Motoko Kusanagi as a woman, as an eroticized figure. You see her as a protagonist. You see her as somebody who's going through a personal journey and trying to find answers to questions that you as the audience have. During the sequence of her creation at the beginning of the film, like, there is actually a wedding chant in the background as Motoko is being put together. Like, it's a marriage of technology as well as organics. It is a marriage of the philosophical as well as the logical. It's a combination of all sorts of different things, but it's not one sole, product. So yeah, if I had to say anything, like, Ghost in the Shell is a very sort of feminist, positive movie. It doesn't try to sort of like shove what it is to be a feminist down your throat. No, it doesn't do anything like that. What it does is that it sort of turns the ideas of misogyny on its head. It turns the misogynistic mind inside out and presents it in its most absurd and ridiculous ways. So would I say Motoko Kusanagi is a feminist icon? I don't know. But the film is a very, 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 very clever in showing you and reflecting this type of mindset to you as the audience. What I also like is that it doesn't try to condemn you. It doesn't condemn you for ogling at Motoko Kusanagi's naked body, because it's not trying to sexualize it at all. Nor is it trying to sexualize Motoko Kusanagi in general all the same. Like, she wears very skimpy clothing, and at various times in the movie she is fully naked. But she doesn't... the film doesn't fetishize upon her naked body. I mean, yes, she has breasts, but she doesn't have nipples. She has a backside, like she has, the two legs joining in together to form the shape of a butt. But there's no genitalia, okay? There's no vaginal passage in the front of her body, or any sort of indication that she, that she's some sort of living, breathing creature. So yeah, it's a very sort of very, very complex and very confusing sort of element, but I feel that Ghost in the Shell is making a stand against misogyny and showing you how stupid that practice truly is by showing you robotic boobs. But yeah, as I said before, Ghost in the Shell may come across as very, very pretentious, but here's the thing. Humans tend to associate more what appeals to our minds. Granted, we have the sciences, we have logic, we have mathematics that all inform us on a more sort of factual basis. But when it comes to emotional resonance and getting inside of your heart and getting to the emotional core of your brain, that is what we truly respond to. We respond emotionally more than we do logically. If you show a person a picture of a particularly sensationalistic image, one way or another they will emotionally respond to it before they try to intellectualize it. It's just part of our, our biology. So to see it in a film such as this, heavily stylized though it may be, it's still a very clever approach. And one of the greatest things about this movie is that how long it's managed to endure. This film was made way back in the early 90s, okay? This is 2014 going on to 2015 now. Not only does this film look great, it has this emotional, deep message that even if a film is so aesthetically pleasing, it probably would not hold up as well as Ghost in the Shell has. So briefly talking about the characters themselves, Motoko Kusanagi was intentionally made to be robotic in terms of her vocal delivery. Now, I didn't mind the English voice actress or the voice acting in this film in general, but if you were going to make a character a cyborg, like a mostly unfeeling, very cold and clinical sort of individual, just try to make sure that the voice actors don't necessarily, get too far into the character, because that's when the voice acting becomes boring. That's not to say that the actress did a bad job at Motoko Kusanagi. She didn't. She was doing as she was told. But there's still a sensitive line when it comes to, performing a character that's meant to be emotionally hollow or, a little more logical when it comes to her approach to life. The rest of the voice acting is fine. My favourite being Batou. Batou is a very sort of great character. Now, he also does not eroticize Kusanagi. She is his partner. He respects her. In every sequence, he is more concerned for her well-being and is more in admiration of her intelligence rather than her body. That was really refreshing for me to see. The whole thing with the cybernetic criminal, the puppet master, that is secondary. Okay, that gives you more of a reactionary sort of approach to the story. But what truly makes Ghost in the Shell great is that it connects with you on a deeply emotional and sympathetic level. So yes, that was my rambling, and I want to take the opportunity to thank you for listening to me bullshit. So yes, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I shall catch you on the other side. Hopefully with a more sound state of mind, and with a little less ranting. Okay guys, take care. Bye bye.